Good morning, my dear students, and welcome to this session of Cost and Management Accounting. I think you have already geared up for the January examination, and this is going to be a very important uh, subject for the group 2 particularly because this paper with the paper of financial management are the two numerical papers, and I think this gives an opportunity to all of you to score marks. This is a very typical subject, as we all know, which requires the conceptual clarity as well as a lot of practice. So, a combination of subject where you need to understand the concepts and then you need to practice n number of numericals so that you can grasp the concept which is already there in the questions. So regarding that, this is a BoS for Success organized by the Board of Studies, and I would like to welcome all of you into this particular session. Obviously, whatever the query you will have, we'll answer that. And I'll be also joined by one of my colleague, CA Bipin Bora, that. And he will be also discussing one or two questions, important questions for all of you, right? So obviously, if any of you is having any doubt, you can always ask me, and I expect you to get the full benefit of this. So this session, first of all, what we are going to discuss very quickly, we'll be discussing that. Number one, we'll be discussing the syllabus and weightage. Syllabus and the section-wise weightage, first of all, I'll discuss. Then we'll be discussing the skill-wise weightage, the analysis of the question paper, that is the structure of the question paper, which is also very, very important. Then a summary of each chapter with important points to remember. Few chapters I will try to go through. Some of the preparation tips, some of the, how to revise and examination related do's and do nots also we'll be discussing in the class. Now going forward, section syllabus wise weightage, I think more or less you were clear again and again that how this section wise weightage and section no skill wise weightage works. So cost accounting syllabus has been divided into four segments. First part is the overview of cost and management accounting. There are two part of it: introduction to cost and management accounting and elements of cost and preparation of cost sheet, which is having section wise weightage of 10 to 15%, and weightage in terms of marks is 11 to 18 marks. And this is having two part. One is the introduction part and another is the element of cost and preparation of the cost sheet, which is also having 10 to 15% overall combination of these two. And this cost sheet is also very, very important, and a lot of time we have seen that you know the case study questions also come from this. Then the second part, which is the ascertainment of yes, Aditya, you want to speak something? You have any question? Okay, anybody is having any question, I will request uh, the audience also to the whoever is the student is there, they can ask the question, and IT team, please enable them so that if they want to ask any question, they can always ask. Okay, Mr. Binu. Right. So this is the second part, which is the introduction, ascertainment of cost and cost accounting system. I think this is the most important, body of the cost accounting syllabus, where where basic cost, material, labor, and overhead are being discussed. Along with when we are discussing overhead, then obviously uh, the concept of ABC also will be part of it, and recording and accounting of cost also is a part of this particular session. So very, very important from exam perspective, from learning perspective, and 35 to 40% marks. So in 40s normally we see 41 to 47 questions from this particular section. Then the third one is the method of costing, single output costing, then unit costing or job costing, batch costing process, costing of service sector, all are part of this in the very first one. This accounts to 20 to 25%, which is of 24 to 30. And then the decision making part of marginal costing, cost control part of standard costing, analysis part of budgetary control is also part of it. Skill wise, it's very simple how skill wise weightage are divided. There are two level. One is level 1 and one is level 2. Level 1 is knowledge and comprehension, that is 20 to 30%, and then application and analysis is 70 to 80%. So this is basically the skill wise and section wise weightage of this particular subject. I think more or less you are aware, but then also question paper pattern, I think previous year question paper, if you see that, probably will give you a very nice idea. And there are two division. One is division A and division B. Division A is having case scenario MCQs and two case scenario 10 plus 10 20, and then five caselets of 2 marks each, that is 10 marks. So this 30. Then descriptive questions, compulsory questions of 14 marks, optional questions of 4 out of 5 questions you have to do. So 30 plus 14 plus 56. These are the bifurcation of this. Preparation by more or less you are aware that how to do it. Obviously, if you have any specific question, I would like to go for that. Very few part of material cost, if you see that in the material costing, what are the things which is included? So process wise, if you see that material procurement is there. So bills of material, material requisition note, purchase requisition, good received note, material return note, valuation of material received, then bin card and stores ledger, difference between them. This is also important for from the theoretical perspective. Then inventory control, EOQ is very important part, and valuation of material, LIFO, FIFO, weighted average, WEM, which is known as. Then accounting and control, definition and treatment of waste, scrap, spoilage, defective, obsolescence, etc., etc. Those are also very important from the theoretical perspective. So numerical questions from this particular chapter you can have of UQ, you can have of various levels and various valuation of material issue, where you need to find it out that what is going to be the valuation of the closing stock in each of the technique. These are some of the basic formulae. Obviously, this has been taken from the study material itself, and you all have that. And these are good for revision also. You can prepare your own notes and find it out that how you'll be revising this. So maximum stock level, minimum stock level, average stock level, reorder level, danger level, economic order quantity, inventory turnover ratio, inventory turnover period, and then all these are absolutely should be very clear to you. And when we will be discussing, when we will be thinking of EOQ particularly, then you should be very clear about ordering cost, carrying cost, and what is the relationship, how one cost moves up and another cost moves down. So that's very, very important for you people to understand. This is the treatment. Already I told you that this is a very important segment, and in general, if you want to remember, normal cost will be absorbed by the good unit production, abnormal cost is transferred to the costing PL. But exactly what is the difference between waste, scrap, spoilage, defective and obsolescence should be clear, and the treatment also. Many times we have seen the theoretical question of this. So this is basically the material part where you can face your problem. Sometime annual consumption may not be given, so you need to find out that how annual consumption can be given. And treatment of waste cap, already I told you. Various stock level, some information is missing, how will be finding it? And conceptual clarity is very, very important in a level preparation of material. So very important part of your syllabus, of your learning, is material costing, and all should be very, very careful while learning this. Aditya and Kuldeep, if you have any questions, you please let me know. Kuldeep wanted to ask something. Any doubt is there in your mind, or Aditya, please let me know. Can you hear me, first of all? Yes, Kuldeep, please. You can enable your speaker and you can speak. No problem. Kuldeep, Kuldeep or Aditya. Aditya, are you there? Do you have any question? They are not able to unmute. Just a moment. Technical team, they are unable to unmute actually. Can you help, Kuldeep? Just a moment, we are trying. Yeah, just a moment. They are trying.
वेनु जी हेलो हेलो
Yeah, Kuldeep, you are unmuted now. Can you speak, please? Yes, Kuldeep, can you speak? I think you are unmuted now. Hello, Kuldeep? Aditya? You are unmuted now. You can speak if you wish. Same issue. They are not able to speak. I think from our side there is no issue. You are unmuted. I can see the mic. Aditya, can you try speaking, please? Binuji, can you unmute them? Okay, fine. Let me continue then. Kuldeep, when you will be able to find the when you will be able to speak, you can always speak there, no issue. So carrying on, this is the material chapter. I think is very one of the very important part of your syllabus. Then similarly, uh, the labor, the employee cost, and few of the things which is very important in this treatment of overtime and overtime premium, the treatment of normal idle time and abnormal idle time, various employee turnover ratios, and then Raman and Halsey, the incentive scheme. So this is very important part of this part. A lot of students get confused in case of normal idle time and abnormal idle time. You can see on the screen that how this can be differentiated. Whether break for lunch, normal rest time, etc., are part of your idle time, normal idle time. Time which cannot be avoided or reduced in the normal course of business, it should be charged to the cost of production. So normal idle time is this one, and abnormal idle time like fire, strike, power failure, or any of the other things uh, which arises on account of abnormal causes, and that should be charged to costing PL. So this is the difference of treatment between the idle time and normal and abnormal idle time. Similarly, as I told you, the Hals and Ravan should be very clear to you, and various technique of labor turnover should be done and should be calculated. Then, in case of absorption costing overhead by function, by nature, by element, by control, and how the distribution goes. So very systematically, you can also prepare your own notes in this way. You know, how the allocation is done, how the apportionment is done, how the reapportionment is done, and this three technique is very important. As I told you earlier, also uh, this one. So this one. And based on the reciprocal, there are three techniques of reciprocal. One is simultaneous equation, another is trial and error, another is the repeated distribution. So these overall techniques are very important for all of you. And please practice this question. Calculation of machine hour rate, calculation of blanket overhead rate. This you can see that normal rate, how it is calculated, predetermined rate, how is calculated, blanket rate and departmental rate. So in this way you can have your summary also, you can have your notes also, that how these things can be done. Okay. Activity based costing, very important, and sometime we again, like cost sheet, we see that the numerical questions or the case study question comes from this. So concept should be very clear for you, and sometimes the theoretical question, particularly the advantage of traditional costing over advantage of ABC over traditional costing is also very important. Cost sheet, please try to understand that how it is prepared, what is the logic behind it, and how the various overhead consist is a part of this overhead, which is again a very important part. And as you can see that direct employee cost and direct expenses and direct material, these three. So this will be forming the part of prime cost. Then there is production cost, administration cost, selling overhead, and distribution overhead. Also, please understand that there will be three kind of inventory: opening and closing stock of raw material, opening and closing stock of WIP, opening and closing stock of finished goods. How the treatment will be there. This you can see. So cost of production, cost of goods sold, finished goods, and then cost of goods sold, administrative overhead. Administrative overhead, you can see that this is part of two things. Administrative overhead can be part of factory overhead also if any administration overhead related to factory is there. Otherwise, general overhead will be part of the administrative overhead in the part of the cost of sale. So this is the format which is there in your study material also. So very, very important part, particularly the treatment, then process and operating costing, normal process loss, abnormal process loss, and abnormal gain. I again will give a lot of emphasis on this treatment of abnormal gain. FIFO and WEM basically we take into the valuation. We do not consider LIFO as such. For the knowledge purpose, you can always do that. Joint products and byproducts. There are three concepts: joint product, then byproduct, and co-product. So you should be very, very clear about that. And when we are apportioning the joint cost over joint product, so there are various techniques like market value at joint point of separation, market value at after further processing, average cost, average unit cost, and contribution margin. So these all are important. Okay. Then methods of apportioning joint cost over the byproduct. So these are some of the, when the value is total, how it is to be done, when it is considerable value, how it is to be done, and when they require further processing, how it is to be done. So everything should be very, very crystal clear to all of you that how these things can be done. Then service costing, this all industry are part of your syllabus. Transport, hotel, lodges, hospital, IT and ITS, toll road, educational, insurance, and none of the institute is having this much of broader coverage as far as the services costing is concerned. So and then also you have the clear idea of what is composite unit and what is equivalent unit. Okay, so that will always help you. Total variance, material, labor, and overhead variance. In overhead also there are variable overhead variance and fixed overhead variance. And please understand the concept behind this. I think Mr. Bipin will be explaining you that how the concept of standard costing. The formula should not be learned. Formula should be conceptually understood. So that you are absolutely clear about that. So these are the different formulas, but again I told you that concept you should learn. Marginal costing, very, very important once again. So this is the marginal costing statement or equation, that is sales minus variable cost is equal to contribution, and again fixed cost plus profit is equal to contribution. So this again has to be learned very, very properly. These are the basic formula which is there in the study material we use. One very important thing, yes, thank you very much, Kuldeep. One very important thing is that you should again go through short-term decision making questions. Short-term decision making questions. It is said that the marginal costing decisions which are taken based on the short term, because in the short term only the marginal cost or the variable cost will be variable. So there is a saying that all the fixed cost will be unfixed in the long term, or all the fixed costs can be unfixed at a long term. So these are based on the principle of variable cost or marginal cost, all those short-term decision, make or buy, shutdown point, then continuation of process, key factors, then selecting the best product mix, accepting the order. So all those kind of questions, and sometimes it can be typical also based on your understanding. You need to solve this. Again, this is a good topic for your case study type of questions. Budget, you should be covering everything of budget, particularly the zero-based budgeting, the concept performance budgeting, budget ratios, capacity-wise, function-wise, period-wise, and master budget as far as the classification is concerned. Various budget ratio also you should go through, and flexible budget. as far as the numerical is concerned is very, very important. So this is fixed and flexible. Also, you can understand the difference between these two. So this again follows the principle of marginal cost. These are the different function-wise budget. This is master budget, and this is long, short, and current budget. Okay. So this is the difference also. This is again given in the study material. And this ratios, budget ratio, efficiency, activity, calendar, standard capacity usage, actual capacity usage, these are very, very important. And sometimes we have seen that question come from this area also. So this is basically the overall, idea about your subject. I thought I'll be sharing with you. And obviously, if you have any questions, you may ask at this point of time. Yeah, this one. Hello. Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah. Some question is there. Costing is logic based, but if question follows from the study material based, yes, normally the concepts are familiar. One or two treatment can be different. But if you practice enough from the study material, from the revised test paper, mock test paper, the questions which is done by the teachers in the classroom, Mr. Bipin will be there. He will be doing certain questions also. So I think that is good enough for you. Thank you very much, Kuldeep. Any question from anybody else? Okay. Uh, I'll request CA Bipin also to come on the floor, please. And sir will be, thank you very much, first of all, Bipin, for joining us and helping the student as always. Particularly you're dealing with some of the units like service costing and standard costing is par excellence. And one or two questions is there. I will take that. Then you can start. I'll be there online also if there is any typical question, but otherwise you may do as per your own comfort. There are some theoretical questions, then it requires to be solved on material based answer. See, if the concept is clear, you should not be writing vague answer. So points maybe you can jot down in your short notes, and you should be able to write it. Language may not be that much important. So, but yes, always there is an advantages if you do it from the study material, because generally we follow the model solution from the study material itself, which is institute's own material. Marginal costing concept is very important. It's not the formula. Basic formula you can learn, like how to calculate BAP and all, which is very, very simple, again, based on the concept. You need to recover the contribution only, nothing else. So you need to have a situation where your fixed cost is equal to contribution. So fixed cost by contribution or fixed cost by PV ratio is your break-even point, which can be calculated in terms of units and sales. So in this way, marginal cost statement is very important, Aditya. Marginal cost statement is very important. Sales minus variable cost is equal to contribution is equals to fixed cost plus minus profit. So based on that, I think you can solve any question. One of the very conceptual part, particularly the decision making, and you should be very, very clear. Similarly with standard costing. Either you are very good in standard costing or you are very bad. In other chapter that may not be applied. And Bipin is one of the best person I can say that who can explain the standard costing to you, particularly the conceptual part. Any other questions, students? Is it clear, Kuldeep, Aditya? Any question is there? Is it clear, beta? Okay. I'll request now Bipin sir to take over and the IT team can focus on. Okay, one or two more question, Mr. Bipin. Where the students commit mistake and what do you want to see? Okay. Commit mistake calculation is one part where you can have a lot of errors. Conceptual understanding, wrong treatment, and sometimes basic can also go wrong. I think all this can be removed when you will practice in number of questions. So understanding is one part and practice of those questions. In fact, if your understanding is 50%, for an example, your practice will make it 80%. I think Bipin will agree with me. So until unless you practice, nobody can do. People can explain the concept to you, but you need to practice. So practice is a one very important aspect. And this subject cannot be dealt only by mugging formulas. I am very clear on that. So need to have conceptual clarity and then a lot of practice. So these are the two important part of this particular subject. And very important. Group 2, I think, depends on this subject. This is such an important subject. Okay, and if you have any doubts, there are video lectures which is recorded. CA Bipin is one of the faculty. There are one or two other faculty members, so you can always go and visit their lectures if you have any doubt on any of the concepts. Bipin sir, you can take over. Thank you, students. If there is any what I will say typical query, Deepak, do you have any question by the way before I go? Deepak. Okay, fine. Bipin sir, you can start. I'm putting my video off as well. Okay.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, all the students. Thank you so much for your valuable time and for your guidance, sir. So now, students, I hope the exams are coming. So I hope you guys are prepared for the chapters, for all the subjects. So the session is basically conducted to address all your queries. Apart from this, I have received a query specifically relating to question number 13 from the study material of standard costing. So whatever the queries you have, you guys can post your queries. I'm here to address all your queries. Apart from this, as I have received few queries, so I'll be discussing one or two questions in this class. So I request you guys, as many students mentioned, they are facing difficulty in practical question number 13 from standard costing. So I request you guys, to all of you, to open your study material, practical question number 13, page number 13.63. I'll be discussing this question because I've received the same query from many students. So I request you guys again to open practical question number 13 from study material. Page number, it is 13.63. In the meanwhile, whatever the doubts you have, whatever the queries you have, you guys can post your queries. I'll be addressing all your queries, my friends. Okay, Kuldeep, what exactly you want me to cover in standard costing? Because I'll be discussing practical question number 13. So more or less all the concepts of labor and material will be covered in that part. Apart from this, anything else you want me to cover specifically, Kuldeep? So denominator of charging in the service cost. Okay, I'll cover this point also, Kuldeep. So anyways, let's start with question number 13 of study material of standard costing, page number 13.63, wherein JK Limited manufactures NXE by mixing 3 raw materials. For every batch of 100 kgs of NXE, 125 kgs of raw material is used. So basically, they are saying that for every 100 output, we are using 125 kgs of inputs. In the month of April, 60 batches were prepared to produce an output of 5,600 kgs of NXE. So the total batches were 60 and the output what they were getting is 5,600 kgs of NXC. The standard and the actual particulars for the month of April is given, wherein the raw materials A, B, C, the mix is given, the price is given, actual mix and actual price is given. Apart from this, the quantity of raw material purchased is also given. You are required to calculate the material price and usage variance. So it's a very simple question, but yeah, there are a few twists. So let's start with this question. Now, see, I'll be discussing this question using the same pattern what I have discussed in all my classes. So let's start with this part. So the same pattern, budget and actual. If the output is same, we can straight away start with calculating variance. But if the output is not same, we have to prepare revised standard. So let's start with this question. When talking about budgeted data, the same quantity and price. There are three types of raw material, A, B, and C. We have the inputs. That is, for every 125 kgs of input, we are getting an output of how much? 100 kgs. So we can say the normal loss is how much? For 125 input, the normal loss will be 25 and my output will be how much? 100. Now see, the percentage is given in the form, the mix is given in the form of percentage. It is 50%, 30%, and 20% of inputs. So 125 into 50%, it will be 62.5. 125 into 30%, this will be 37.5. And 125 into 20%, so this will be 25. So the total will be 125, 25 will be the normal loss, and output will be 100. Now moving towards the standard price, it is 20, 10, and 5. That is given in the question. So this is the budgeted data given for 100 units of output. Now when talking about the actual data, actual output is given 5,600 for 60 batches. So for this 60 batches, how much should be the actual input? Very simple, guys. Actual input will be how much? See, total 125 kgs for one batch. So for 60 batches, how much should be my input? 7,500 is my input. And my actual output is given in the question, that is 5,600 kgs. So let's start writing the actual data, wherein quantity, price, and amount. So we have the actual input, that is 7,500. We have the actual input, that is 7,500. It should be in the ratio of 60 is to 20 is to 20. So this will be 4,500. This will be 1,500. And this will be 1,500. My output it's already given in the question, that is 5,600 kgs. So my actual normal loss will be how much? 1,900. When talking about the actual price also, it is given 21, 8 and 6. So let's calculate the actual cost. 4,500 into 21. This will be 94,500. So now my budgeted data is ready. My actual data is ready. Now the first thing what we will check is that their output is same or not. So budgeted data is given for 100 units of output and actual data is given for 5,600 units of output. Since the output is not same, so we have to prepare revised standard. As I said also before also in material, variance, basis of comparison is what? Output. To calculate the variance between budget and actual, we have to check the output. The output should be same, then only we can calculate the variances. So basis of comparison is what? My output. So since the budgeted output and actual output is not same, we will prepare revised standard. So same quantity, price, and amount. So 62.5 kgs for 100 units of output. So for 5,600 units of output, how much? 3,500. 62.5 for 100 units of output. So for 5,600 units of output, how much? I have discussed all these concepts in detail in my regular batch. So just writing it for a reference specifically for A, that is 62.5 kgs of raw material for 100 units of output. So for 5,600 units of output, how much? 3,500. So similarly, you can calculate it for B and C also. That is 37.5 for 100 units of output. So for 5,600 units of output, how much? 2,100. Similarly, 25 kgs for 100 units of output. So for 5,600, how much it is? 1,400. So 3,500 plus 2,100 plus 1,400. So the total input should be 7,000 and my output 5,600. So my normal loss should not be more than 1,400. The price we have is 20, 10 and 5. So this is 70,000. This is 21,000 and this is 7,000. So the total cost should be 98,000 to manufacture 5,600 units of output. So herein, as I mentioned also, see, first of all, whenever you find a question, arrange budget and actual. Now check budgeted output and actual output. If budgeted output and actual output are same, no need to prepare revised standard. But if it is different, then we have to prepare revised standard. So we will convert this 100 output data into 5,600 output data and then only we can calculate the variance. Now see, 90% of the hard work is done. Once you are ready with this master chart, you can easily calculate the variances. So let's start calculating the variance. So first one is material cost variance. When talking about the cost variance, very simple. What should be my cost for 5,600 kgs of output? 98,000 should be my cost. And my actual cost is how much? 1,15,500. Basically, it is standard cost minus actual cost. So this will be 17,500 adverse. Now next is material price variance. When talking about the price variance, it talks about the difference in price. So what was my standard price? 20. What is my actual price? 21 into the actual quantity. Now, why actual quantity? I have done a detailed discussion why I'm taking actual quantity, not the standard quantity. So you can refer my regular batch for this query. So standard price, again, there are no formulas in standard costing. It's all what about concept. And how come these formulas are prepared? I've already discussed in my regular batch. So standard price minus actual price into actual quantity. So standard price was 20 minus 21 into 4,500. So this will be 4,500 adverse. Similarly, 10 minus 8 into 1,500. So this will be 3,000 favorable. Now 5 minus 6 into 1,500. So this will be 1,500 adverse. So net it will be 3,000 adverse. So this is all what about material cost and price variance. Now let's start with the next part, that is usage variance. When talking about material usage variance, it talks about the standard uses minus actual uses. So standard quantity minus actual quantity used into standard price. Now again, why I am taking standard price, that also I have discussed in detail in my regular batch. So let's start with this part. So three types of raw material, A, B, C. So how much quantity we were supposed to use? 3,500. The quantity what we actually used was 4,500. Into my standard price is 20. So this will be 20,000 adverse. Similarly, when talking about the second part, the quantity we were supposed to use is 2,100. The quantity what we actually used is 1,500 only. Into the standard price is 10. So this will be net 14,500 adverse. So see, as I discussed in my regular batch also, material price plus usage will be cost. Material price variance plus material usage variance will be my material cost variance. So my price variance is 3,000 adverse. My usage variance is 14,500 adverse. So the total will be 17,500 adverse. That is my cost variance. Now next comes material mix variance. It talks about the variance due to change in mix. So herein, see, my actual inputs are 7,500. It should be in the ratio of 62.5 is to 37.5 is to 25. My actual inputs are 7,500. It should be in this ratio. However, they have changed the ratio to this one. So what should be my ratio? 7,500 into 62.5%. Sorry, 60. So it talks about mix, that what should be my mix, that is 7,500 should be in this ratio. However, my actual ratio is this one. So this is my actual quantity into standard price. Now, how come these formulas are derived? I have already discussed in detail. So A, B, and C. So what should be my mix? So 7,500 into 62.5 divided by 125, that is 3750. Again, this is 2250. This is 1500. So this should be my mix. However, my actual mix is how much? 4,500, 1,500, and 1,500. Into my standard price, that is 20, 10, and 5. So this will be 0. This will be 7,500 favorable. This will be 15,000 adverse. So net it will be 7,500 adverse. Next is, material yield variance. We can call it as sub-usage also. When talking about yield, these 5,600 units should be manufactured using 7,000 kgs. However, we actually consume 7,500 kgs. So 500 kgs extra we consume into the weighted average cost, that is 98,000 divided by 7,000. So this will be 7,000 adverse. So this is all what about material yield variance. Again, yield plus mix will be uses. So 7,000 adverse plus 7,500 adverse will be equal to 14,500 adverse. So herein, when talking about material variances, very simple guys, you have to focus on the concepts, wherein first you have to prepare this master chart. Almost 90% work is done if you prepare this chart correctly. So budgeted data, actual data. If they are comparable, straight away start calculating the variances. But if they are not comparable, prepare revised standard, thereafter start with cost variance, followed by price, usage, mix, and yield. Again, very important, price plus usage will be cost, mix plus yield will be usage. So this is the way you have to present the solution in exams. So anyone having any doubts, because many students were facing doubts in this question. So anyone else, if you guys have any doubts or queries in this question, you guys can post your queries. Further, I request you guys to copy this presentation. Presentation is the key. I have solved all the questions using the same format, wherein budget, actual, revised standard, and then all the variances. So this master table and the presentation is the key. So giving you 5 minutes time to copy everything. In the meanwhile, those who have any doubts or queries, you guys can post your queries. Kuldeep, what is the question? In fact, your question is a bit confusing. Can you please write in detail? Yes, Kuldeep. I'm not getting what you are asking. I request you guys to copy the presentation. Yes, this is the way. Okay, Kuldeep. This 7,500 should be in this ratio. This is my standard mix minus my actual mix is basically my actual quantity into the standard price. I hope this part is clear to you, Kuldeep. Okay. Anyone else with any doubts or queries? So this is all. What about practical question number 13? Now, one of the students raised a query that, sir, what about the units in service costing? So see, I think it was Kuldeep only. So Kuldeep, see, the units keep on changing from industry to industry. In transportation industry, it is either ton kilometer, passenger kilometer. In hotel industry, it can be room days. In hospital industry, it can be patient beds, or it can be anything. So when talking about the calculation of number of units, try to convert the question in diagrammatic form. So if a bus is going from A to B, B to C, C to B, B to A, write it down in the diagrammatic form. So let's say if a bus is going from A to B and from B to C, again from C to A it is coming directly. So prepare the diagram and then start writing that. Let's say 50 tons were transported from A to B. Let's say they are unloading 4 tons at B. So only 46 tons are transported from B to C, and from C to A are coming directly with, let's say, 48 tons. So Just write down the data that is given in the question, prepare a diagram, and then write down the data. So now when talking about the distance, let's say distance is 140 kilometers, 160 kilometers, and if they are coming directly to A, it is 250 kilometers. Let's say this is the question. So now once you are done with this master chart again, so if you want to calculate 10 kilometer 50 into 140 plus 46 into 160 plus 48 into 250, you can easily calculate the 10 kilometer. So whatever the question is saying, convert it in diagrammatic form. Try to simplify the question. So it will help you to save the time also, because again and again आप exam में question नहीं पढ़ सकते. So whenever you find a question specifically on transportation industry, convert it in diagrammatic form. Let's say there is a passenger transportation service which is running bus between two towns. Let's say the distance is 20 kilometers one way. So they are going for 20 kilometers. They are coming back for 20 kilometers. Now, let's say the seating capacity is 50 passengers, and during the onwards journey, they are working at full capacity, and in the return journey, let's say the passenger capacity is only 95% or 90%. So here the number of passengers traveling will be 45. So now once you have converted it into diagrammatic from, let's say the bus operates for 3 trips in a day into 30 days in a month. So you can easily calculate the monthly data for passenger kilometers. So the point is, wherever you find a question on passenger kilometer, 10 kilometer, convert it in diagrammatic form. Trust me, if you will convert it into diagrammatic form, there are hardly any chances that are left out wherein you can make mistake. So if you want to solve the questions correctly, convert it in diagrammatic form. Anything else you want me to discuss, Kuldeep, in service costing? One more point in service costing is basically in transportation industry, in case of composite unit, that is absolute and commercial. So absolute uses the weighted average approach, that is this approach, and when commercial, it talks about the simple average approach. So when talking about weighted average approach, you have to multiply this individually. That is 50 into 140, 46 into 160, 250 into 48 tons. So the final figure what you will be getting is the ton kilometer. That is what we can say it is weighted average ton kilometer. But if you want to calculate it in commercial way, that is simple average, very simple, average tons. That is 50 plus 46 plus 48 divided by 3 into the total distance traveled, that is 550 kilometers. So this is commercial. And when talking about weighted average, or we can say absolute, this is the way we will calculate absolute ton kilometer. Which solution, Kuldeep? I hope this part is clear to you. Yes, Kuldeep? Anyone else with any doubts or queries? Anything you guys want me to speak on, or if you want me to discuss, then I can discuss. Else, I'll be taking one question on joint and byproduct from this current RTP. The purpose is basically the major purpose of discussing this question is how to approach the question, because generally if the questions are on the easier side, it's very easy to solve the questions on joint and byproduct. But what if in case if the questions are lengthy and they're asking so many things? So the point is how to approach the question, because generally the questions are lengthy if they are on the trickier side. So every time if you will read the question again and again, it will take lots of time. So again, the time management is the key, and again, the correct solution is also important. So the point is how to approach the question. I'll be discussing. The question is a very easy question, but yes, how to approach the question, that is what I'll be discussing in this part. So anything else you want me to discuss? Waiting for your queries. Anything in marginal costing, standard costing, service costing, process costing? So fine, guys. I'll share the RTP. Edwin sir, I want to share something over the screen, so please grant me the permission. Please allow me to share. Edwin sir.
वेनु जी.
Okay. So I want to discuss this question number 15 from the recent RTP. So I request first of all of you to take the screenshot of this question. Question number 15, that is on joint and byproduct from the latest RTP. So I request you guys to take the screenshot. So let's start with this question. Wherein a company processes a raw material in its department 1 to produce 3 products P, Q, and C. The question is a very easy question, but if the examiner make this question a bit tricky, then point is how to approach the question. So I'll be just discussing this part. Wherein a company processes a raw material in its department 1 to produce 3 products, that is P, Q, and C. So they are manufacturing 3 types of product from one process, and the products are P, Q, and C at the same split off stage. During a period, 1,80,000 kgs of raw material were processed in Department 1 at a total cost of 12,88,000, and the resultant outputs are P, Q, and C, and the resultant outputs of P, Q, and C were 18,000, 10,000, and 54,000 kgs respectively. P and Q were further processed in Department 2 at a cost of 1,80,000 and 1,50,000 respectively. Whereas when talking about C, C was further processed in Department 3 at a cost of 1,08,000. There is no waste in further processing. So there is no wastage. This line is very important. There is no wastage in further processing. The details of the sales effected during the period were given wherein the quantity sold. So rest are still in stock. So out of 18,000, 10,000, 54,000 kgs of raw material, the product, they are selling only 17,000, 5,000, and 44,000 kgs of product. And the sales value also is given. There were no opening stock. If these products were sold at split off point, the selling price of P, Q, and C will be 50, 40, and 10 per kg respectively. Prepare a statement showing apportionment of joint cost to P, Q, and C. Prepare a statement showing the cost per kg of each product, indicating the joint cost and further processing cost and the total cost separately. So second point, again I repeat, prepare a statement showing the cost per kg of each product, indicating the joint cost, further processing cost, and total cost separately. Okay. Thereafter, we have to prepare a statement showing the product wise and the total profit for the period. State with supporting calculation as to whether any or all of the products should be further processed or not. So I'll be just covering this question in brief. I will give you an overall idea how to approach the question. So I request you guys to take the screenshot. Again, I'm requesting you guys to all, please take the screenshot. This is the first page. And this is the second part. So let's start. Question number 15. See, herein, the question is clear that you have to distribute the joint cost. The method is not given. If generally, in exams, the question can ask you to distribute the joint cost by various methods, either net realizable value method or sales value at split off point or physical units method or contribution margin method, whatever it is. So if the question is silent, you have to follow the sales value at split off point. This is the best way. If the sales value at split off point is not given, then next you can go with net realizable value method. If net realizable value method cannot be applied, then we have to distribute it in physical units method. So these all concepts I have discussed in few of my sessions on joint and byproduct. So for detailed idea, or for detailed understanding, you can refer my regular batch. I have discussed all the concepts in detail, that how to approach the question, how to solve the question. So let's start with this question number 15. See, this question is on the easier side, but whenever you find a question which are on the trickier side, and wherein they are asking you to distribute the joint cost using various method, so see, just try to convert the question in diagrammatic form. Once you convert it in diagrammatic form, you can easily calculate you can easily apportion the joint cost using various method. See, this question is straight away, so you can go straight. But yes, if in case, I repeat again, examiner asks you to distribute the joint cost using various method, then yes, try to convert it in diagrammatic form. So how to approach the question, that is the major reason for discussing this question. So herein, see, so first is department A. I'm doing nothing. I'm just writing the question in the simplified way. So there is a department A whose joint cost is how much? They have processed 1,80,000 kgs and the cost is 12,88,000. 1,88,000 kgs and the joint cost is how much? 12,88,000 rupees. Now from this department, they are getting three products. From this department, they are getting three products, P, Q, and C. Product P, product Q, and product C. When talking about product P, Q, and C, how much quantity they are getting? 18,000 kgs, 10,000 kgs, and 54,000 kgs. 18,000 kgs, 54,000 kgs, and 10,000 kgs. Further, see, their sales value at split off point is also given in the question. See, the last paragraph. If these products were sold at split off point, the selling price will be P, Q, and C. Of P, Q, and C will be 50, 40, and 10 respectively. So these can be sold at the rate 50, at the rate 40, and at the rate 10. So this is what we will get is the sales value at split off point. So 18,000 into 50, it will be 9 lakh. $10,000 into 40, this will be 4 lakh, and 5,40,000. This is what my sales value at split off point. Now see, P and Q are further processed in department B, and C is processed in department 2, And when talking about the cost of further processing, it is given in the question, that is 180, 150, and 1,08,000. So 1,80,000 rupees, 1,50,000 rupees, and 1,08,000. This is what my further processing cost. And this is what my joint cost. Now we have the sales value after further processing also, wherein quantity sold we have is 17,000 kgs, 5,000 kgs, and 44,000 kgs. And their value is 12, 24, 250, and 792. So this is what sales value after further processing. So this is the data required to distribute the joint cost, wherein we have joint cost also, sales value at split off point also, further processing cost also, and sales value after further processing. Now herein the question is asking us to distribute the joint cost. That's it. The method is not specified. So if in question the method is not specified, always remember distribute the joint cost in the ratio of sales value at split off point. If the question is silent, always distribute joint cost in the ratio of sales value at split off point. So this will be the ratio, that is 9 lakh, 4 lakh, and 5 lakh 40,000 will be the ratio wherein this joint cost of 12 lakh 88,000 will be distributed. I request you guys, those who have not yet revised the chapter, I request you guys to copy this part specifically, that what all these concepts are. This is joint cost, this is sales value at split off point, this is further processing cost, and this is sales value after further processing. So this is the master chart of the question. Now, if the question asks you distribute the joint cost in the ratio of sales value at split off point, you can distribute it in this ratio. Suppose if the question asks you distribute the joint cost in the ratio of physical units, you can distribute it in this ratio, that is 18,000, 10,000, and 54,000. If the question is asking you to distribute at NRV, that is net realizable value, we will calculate the net realizable value as this amount, sales value minus further processing cost, we will get NRV. So for this also, we will get the NRV. And once the NRV is ready, we can distribute the joint cost. If the question is asking you to distribute the joint cost in the ratio of sales value after further processing, then this will be the ratio. So once this master chart is ready, you can distribute the joint cost easily. But yes, do make a note of it. If the question is easy, no need to prepare. But yes, if the question is on the trickier side, you can't read the question again and again, again and again, again and again. So better convert this question in diagrammatic form. You can solve the question in minutes. Anyways, guys, 1 second, let me check. Yes, Kuldeep, I do remember that you are quite regular. So now let's distribute the joint cost in the ratio of sales value at split off point. So my 12 lakh 88,000 will be distributed in the ratio of in the ratio of 9 lakh is to 4 lakh is to 5 lakh 40,000. So my joint cost will be distributed in the ratio of 900 is to 400 is to 540. Or we can say 90 is to 40 is to 54. This will be the ratio. So this will be 6,30,000 rupees. ₹2,80,000. Next is 3,78,000. So this is basically the joint cost after distribution. If you guys have any doubts or queries in this part, you guys can please post your queries. So first part is over, wherein the question is asking us to prepare a statement showing apportionment of joint cost in PQs and C. You can prepare it in statement form also. Now next is prepare a statement showing the cost per kg of each product, indicating the joint cost and further processing cost and the total cost separately. So that's okay. Simply we have to calculate the cost per unit. So joint cost for P, Q and C, that is cost per unit. So 6,30,000 divided by 18,000 kgs. Six lakh 30 divided by 18,000 kgs, we will get 35. Two lakh 80,000 divided by 10,000 kgs, we will get 28. 3,78,000 divided by 54,000 kgs, will get 7 rupees. So basically this is the joint cost. Now further processing cost also will be divided by these three only, because this is my quantity. So 1,80,000 divided by 18,000. So this will be 10. 1,50,000 divided by 10,000, it will be 15. And 1,08,000 divided by 54,000, I think this will be 2. So my total cost of the product will be 45, 9 and 43. This is basically my total cost of the product. If you guys have any doubts or queries, you guys can post your queries. So once the total cost is calculated, we can easily calculate the profit also. Now further, one more point in this question, wherein see 18,000 and 17,000, 18,000 units were manufactured and 17,000 units were only sold. So herein 1,000 kgs will be the closing stock, 5,000 kgs will be the closing stock and 10,000 kgs will be the closing stock. So while calculating the profit, sales, add closing stock, minus opening stock is not there, minus the cost, you will get the total profit for the company. Further, closing stock is always valued at cost or selling price, whichever is less. So here in this question, I think the selling price is more than the cost. So the closing stock will be valued at cost. So cost or selling price, whichever is less. So in this, the selling price is on the higher side. Reason being, see herein also 17,000 units were sold at 12,24,000. So it is 72 is the selling price here. 50 is the selling price here. And 18 is the selling price here. So my selling price is much more than my cost. So closing stock will be valued at cost. And this is the way you have to solve the question. See, the purpose of discussing this question is this master chart. That is how to approach the question if the question is lengthy and it's bit on the trickier side. Anyways, this is all what about this question. Rest all points are regular and can be solved easily. The major reason is this part, I mean, how to approach the question. That is the key. So I'm done with this question. Anyone else with any doubts or queries? I'm done with my explanation. I'm done with the questions, what I want to discuss. Still, anyone having any doubts or queries, you guys can please post your queries. Whatever the chapters I have discussed, I'm here to address all your conceptual queries. Whatever the queries you have, you can speak to me. Waiting for your queries, my friends. Those who are watching over YouTube or via any other media, you can come live over Zoom and can speak to me also. Yes, anyone? Be it material costing, overheads, activity-based costing, cost sheet, process costing, joint by product, service, budgetary control, standard, marginal. All these chapters, if you guys have any doubts or queries, you can post your queries. When talking about cost accounting, see 2 points. First is the concepts and second is the practice. Focus on the concepts and try to practice questions in writing as I have mentioned in all my sessions. No need to do ticking. Start writing your own solution. Prepare your concepts. Whatever that is discussed in class, you can't check recorded session every time. Prepare your notes, whatever I have discussed in the class. And once you're ready with your notes, no need to check the recorded session. Just read the notes and start solving the question for revision purpose. So, waiting for your queries. Further, what I have observed, as I mentioned in my previous sessions also, that many students are not being able to complete the paper on time. The only reason is that paper is not difficult. The point is lack of writing practice. In 80-85% cases, I mean, if you are thorough with the concept and if you have practiced a lot, then you can easily solve the costing paper. But the most of the student lacks writing practice. So start solving question in writing. Variety of questions are available over in study material, past practice manual, MTPs, RTPs. All the questions are available over the platform, institute platform only. So simply download it and start solving the question and try to solve the question in time bound manner. So I mean, if you just follow this approach, no one can stop you from scoring 75% marks in any of the subjects. Anything else if you guys want me to discuss? Else I'm done with today's session. Sen Gupta sir, are you there, sir? Sen Gupta sir, are you there, sir?
Sir is connected.
I think he's not there. Anyways, so thank you so much, guys, for your time and patience. And again, the key is focus on the concepts. Try to practice as many as possible questions in writing. And still, if you have any doubts or queries, just write a mail to cma-inter@icai.in addressing my name. I'm here to address all your queries, be it the presentation part, be it any conceptual part, or be it any query related to any question. I'm there to solve all your queries. So do make a note of it, cma-inter@icai.in. Put a mail addressing my name. I'll be there for you. So thank you so much, guys. Wish you good luck for your exams and take care of yourself. God bless you. Edwin, sir? Edwin, sir, are you there? I'm done, sir. Yeah, thank you, sir.